All right, so we are recording now, and I just want to introduce Christopher and the Tile Shop. The Tile Shop is a fast-paced, team-oriented environment where you can build relationships with your customers and coworkers alike. The Tile Shop is the nation's preferred partner of choice for manufactured and natural stone tiles, the setting and maintenance of those materials, and the related accessories. So they are currently on the hunt for top talent to work with their firm. They have 140 plus retail locations nationwide, and they're hiring for a multitude of challenging and rewarding careers in their showrooms and warehouses, distribution centers, their corporate office. The Tile Shop has recently been growing as they have invested in technology, process further improvements, and have been able to give significant support to their retail teams. With Jamie at the helm of she is the senior director of the talent acquisition. Jamie joined the Tile Shop in 2015 at the peak of the new store expansion area for the Tile Shop. And she has been instrumental in building and developing the talent acquisition department. So we would like to share that today. Over the past 6 years, Jamie has completely transformed the Tile Shop's internal and external hiring processes by standardizing and modernizing both processes and technology infrastructure. Jamie has built and managed a fantastic recruiting team that is responsible for supporting all the stores, the distribution center, and the corporate recruiting operations. Jamie's team has also provided mentorship, field training, and talent strategies while fostering a positive, people-first culture of growth and innovation within the Tile Shop's fast-paced, change-driven environment. So I welcome, Jamie has been here at the Tile Shop for 15 years in corporate agency recruiting, human resources, business development, and operation management. And she surely has been an asset to the Tile Shop. But we'd like to turn it over to now our meeting to Christopher Davis, the CIO of the Tile Shop. And we look forward to hearing more about what the Tile Shop has to offer for hiring and different options that they have. Take it away, Chris.
I really appreciate the time today, Cheryl, and want to thank the BYU Management Society for the opportunity to talk a little bit about the Tile Shop and what we're doing and the exciting growth potential there, but also to really share with the attendees and those that might be watching recordings later or hearing about this, that we are definitely in hiring mode, and we love to get quality talent in all sorts of areas, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But to do that, first I wanted to give a little bit of background on the Tile Shop. We were founded in 1985. We've been a retailer in the home tile market and operate in 31 states, have 143 stores, and expect to continue to grow for quite some time. We have a great deal of growth potential in the industry that we work in. With a lot of differentiation points that drive our financials, and we can talk a little bit about what the company does. As much as the financials are interesting, I would tell you that the culture and the way we continually change and improve is really what brought me to the Tile Shop. We, as I said, are in 31 states. This shows some of where we're at, and we continue to look for opportunities to add stores and grow across the entire United States. Really, the Tile Shop is focused on a differentiated experience to provide a great experience for our customer. And what I would say is that experience is really focused on our broad product assortment, how our store displays really inspire and give you a chance to think about your home and how to make it better. And not only in the store, but digitally. We've been focusing on great improvement on digital content and improving our website, and we have a great experience there as well that continues to improve. But certainly at the core of everything that we do is that customer service experience. And we've really been focused on how we can always make sure that our sales associates provide that service. I'll touch just on each of these for a moment. If you talk about our broad assortment, we have over 6,000 products in our product assortment. We bring in products from premium brands such as Annie Selke and others. We partner with designers to bring really high-end product, an exclusive product that can't really be found anywhere else. And so part of the reason why we mention this is that our product assortment is one of the reasons that customers often talk about the Tile Shop. They want to get something unique, or they want to get something that is high quality and difficult to find elsewhere. And it really drives a lot of what brings our customers into the store. Speaking of our stores, here's an image of one of our stores. And we have not only these showrooms that show the tile here, but we also have what are called vignettes. And it shows actually in a mini room, if you will, bathrooms, kitchens, other things that give you inspiration on how to work with our tile and how to use the tile to really make your home the place that it can be. Why does that matter? Because we're passionate about tile and we want people to have the inspiration that they are looking for to improve value in their homes, which ultimately is what we can help our customers do. And we certainly, as we talk about, have a digital experience, a visualizer that lets you actually visualize digitally on our website what our tile looks like in a room, and really improving that experience. The last thing that I wanted to touch on briefly is just our customer service. And one of the things that we focus on constantly, and is really the primary reason that people come and return to the Tile Shop, which is our professionals are highly trained in design and in helping the customer navigate our broad assortment and find the things that they're really looking for, and being able to design their home in such a way that they can be proud of it. We often get customer generated content that's sent to us saying, look what I've been able to do in my home. And some of the homes are just absolutely phenomenal in some of the pictures that have been shared, and you can see that on our website as well. We partner with pro market managers, and you'll learn a little bit more about these different roles as we move forward. And I want to call these things out because this is exactly where we have opportunities in growth and in adding talent to our team. What I would say is that, we're trying to make the world a beautiful place with tile, one home at a time, one customer at a time. And in order to do that, we need talent. We need good talent. We need people that are passionate about what they do. And we need people all over the country, whether it's at corporate, in our stores, in our field sales, or in distribution. And really that is what I was excited about telling our story on, because that is ultimately the reason that I wanted to share our story with BYU Management Society in general. So with that, I'm going to ask Jamie to tell a little bit more about our hiring, what we're doing, why we're doing it, where we need help, and make sure that we can answer questions along the way. So if there are questions, feel free to raise your hand on Zoom or just chime in and ask a question. even now, if you have questions on just generally the information I was sharing about who we are. Jamie?
All right, are you ready? Awesome. Yes, please yell out if you have questions. But just to kind of circle back to what Christopher was talking about, these pictures that you are looking at right now are actually vignettes from stores. And so in each store, they're set up. It's kind of like walking through IKEA. And I'll be honest, I try not to go in very, very often because all I think about is designing new rooms and I'm out of rooms. But it really brings the passion when you walk through. And for our sales associates and our store managers in our stores, it really allows them to really take customers and clients and our pro workers through the store and really talk to them. And it really puts ideas in people's heads. So it makes the selling process so much easier because you get so inspired when you're walking through these different vignettes. But they're gorgeous, to say the least. So. All right, Christopher, if you want to switch to the next page, we'll start talking about the process. All right, so Christopher had asked me to join and kind of walk you guys through a little bit about kind of how we're recruiting right now, what our process is, and kind of our departments, the people we have in place, and you know where we're looking to go. We currently right now, we have our corporate office, we've got our stores. So in our corporate office, you've got, you know, and I'll go over in more detail, but you've got more of your accounting department, marketing department, purchasing, supply chain in your bigger areas. In our stores, we've got kind of front of house, back of house. We recruit and spend a lot of time recruiting for store managers, design consultants, senior design consultants, assistant managers. And then in our back of a house, well, with the exception of 3, all of our 143 stores have warehouses. And so we also have warehouse staff on the back end. And my warehouses can range from 1 warehouse manager up to some of our bigger stores, you know, have 10 to 12. And so that's a heavy area that we're constantly recruiting through. When I talk about field sales, Christopher was talking about our Pro Market Manager, which is a program we started about 2.5, 3 years ago. We're now up to about 13 Pro Market Managers and their outside sales, basically pushing sales into our stores and working with more of our builders, our designers, our architects, outside kind of pushing that business in. And then our distribution centers. We've got 5 distribution centers ranging from our biggest one, I think right now is at about 150 employees down to our smallest one is in Spring Valley, Wisconsin. And I think we just hired our 6th employee there. Through the ups and downs over the years, we've definitely gone up in size and down in size. And our distribution centers did take a small hit during COVID and we're really staffing back up. But that kind of gives you a lay of the land of the different departments that we're hiring for. As we start our process, when I got to Tile Shop, what I got excited about and why I joined is that I could see that it was just a mess in the recruiting area. And I was so excited to get my paws in there and start building. And we didn't have a process and we didn't have a department and everybody was doing their own thing. And so we worked really hard to identify a hiring process that we try to standardize across the whole company. And I think that's from a business development standpoint and all the companies I've been with, I think that's an area that most companies struggle in, and what really pulls your process together is making sure that everyone's on the same page. But for us to identify the hiring need is kind of the first piece that we go through when we're looking at bringing on people. And there's several different pieces that go to that. It may be succession planning, which we are doing a ton of right now with some of our senior leadership. It may be, and Christopher has been the receiver of this year, is it may be restructure. We've added, I think, 21 people to his department this year as he's come on and built out a structure. And so a lot of times it's you know, meeting with the different department heads and really laying out, where are we today? What are we trying to accomplish? What does the business need to get us to where we're going? And really putting that roadmap in place. And so that's kind of where we start, is in our kind of getting our hiring needs. We put together a business case if it's a new position, and we get it to the CEO, my boss, or into finance to get approved. Then from there, we move to a recruiting plan. Every department, every position is going to be a little bit different. And so we work with kind of what is it that we're looking to do, and we work a lot with the line managers on is it a specific position? How do we, what is our plan? We need to know who's going to be involved in the interview process, how many interviews we want to do, are they virtual, are they not, and kind of putting that whole piece in place so that when we get in and go into the recruiting part, we have all of that checked and we can kind of move on. In those areas too, we're comping out the position, we're making sure we understand and have a full job description that our recruiters can then make sure that we check boxes against, so that we're only delivering candidates to our hiring managers that fit the box, right? We go over those soft skills, we go over the must-haves, the have-haves. We have honest conversations. If they're purple squirrels, in my world, purple squirrels are those positions where they want them to have all the bells and whistles and that human probably doesn't exist. So we have heart-to-heart conversations on some of those positions. And then we make a plan. And then from that plan, we move into kind of our advertising side of things. And then with my recruiting team, we think about, where do we want to go? In some cases, it may be, we always advertise, we put it out on our applicant tracking system, which is our guide to kind of take our position from beginning, we post it and it'll take it all the way to the onboarding. So the first step is get it in our our tracking system and then get it posted. Our applicant tracking system throws it out and we have access to over 10,000 job boards. So every job board out there, we pay a lot of outside firms to manage some of our recruiting marketing spend. And so it kind of hits there. And then the direct recruiting piece is the side where we really focus on okay, do we want to target certain companies? Do we want to target certain schools? Like you had mentioned, Chet, how do we want to look at this position? What level is it? Is it something where we do want to get out to colleges and we want to start recruiting on college campuses? Maybe we know, right now over the next 3 months, I'm going to have a good vision of what we're recruiting for the next year. So I can really put a plan in place to understand where I want to go. And so that's kind of the plan that we put in place, is all the different recruiting modules we want to use. We have social media, we have LinkedIn, we have job boards. We've gotten very good at virtual events. Those have been the big thing. Prior to that, we spent a lot of time in the field attending job fairs, all over. We also got really good at, and I'm really getting excited and want to get back out to do it again, at hosting our own career events. We would go into stores, we would set up, and we would try to set up 15 to 25 interviews. We'd fly our team in. We spent a lot of time in New York, New Jersey, some harder markets that we are having hiring. And we would invite all these candidates in, and the energy that it would put in the room, having your own event with all of the different people. We had, all of our local store managers come in, was a really great process. And so I'm excited to get over COVID to do that again. So that's kind of some of the different ways. Does anybody have any questions on that one before I keep going? No? Okay. Getting to the candidate move my page a little bit. Getting to the candidate selection process, that is kind of what it is our applicant tracking system builds everything through when they apply. We've got processes in place that they apply. It's a quick apply. They snap on a link. It brings them through. They can come through our website. They can come through a job board. We have the ability to send a private link. We can post a private link. So that brings them all the way into our applicant tracking system, which delivers them to all of the recruiters. And then the hiring managers have access to see them as well. And then my team will go through the checklist to make sure that they have all the pieces. If Christopher's looking for somebody with SAP that has 5 years experience in a certain thing, we cross those out, and then we'll do the first phone screen, and then from there we'll identify what candidates we want to move on. And in Christopher's case, we would move them on to his directors, then they would then move them on to Christopher for a final interview, and then we would move them on to a team interview somewhere in the middle of that interview cycle. We do try at corporate especially, and in our distribution centers, to really bring in that team interview piece, so that when people start, or that they know faces before they start. And so we really try to push that team interview into all aspects of our hiring process at some point. Once they get through the hiring process, they kind of move into the offer stage. We do still run background checks. I know that's one that is some companies do, some companies don't. It's one that's important to us. So we do run background checks off references, kind of all in our little thing. Once we get everything cleared, we then push them onto onboarding. And our onboarding process, once we release them, they go into HR, they get a welcoming email. And then between our two departments and in partnership with our hiring managers, we all just keep our hands on them and make sure that we're communicating with them until their start date. And then my team tries to follow up every 30, 60, 90 days just to make sure everything's going well and letting everyone know that they have, you know, a contact. And so that's kind of our hiring process. And we've worked hard to kind of get it into a process and a system that works. And I'm really proud of how well we've been doing with it over the last couple of years. So, and constantly expanding on it. Moving on to kind of what we're hiring for. There's I spend a lot of time and really thinking about what makes people work and why they work and why you want to bring somebody in. And I spend a lot of time training in the field on this. Just because you have a seat doesn't mean you just throw somebody in it. You're making a life decision for that person by bringing them in, and for the company. We're building out a team, and all those people have to really, they have to mesh, they have to get along. And so we spend a lot of time in, you know, kind of have two baskets: the why you want to work for us and the what we need. And so when I think about the why you want to work for us, we've worked really hard on culture, people first. When I first started with the company, we were a little bit more sales driven. That was kind of the time. And our new CEO has been with us, well, he's been with us for, you know, 20 years, but he really has pushed and partnered with all of us leaders to put a people first culture, which is something that means a lot to me. It matches my values and it really attracts the right candidates for us. And so I think that's a huge piece. We have a fast, exciting environment. It spins fast. We do a lot of great things, more so than I would think more companies have. You know, I've been in a lot of different companies. I've consulted with a lot of companies, and what we get to have our hands in is pretty amazing. And so to me, that is a big reason that people leave big companies to come work for us, because even though we've been around for a long time, we're still in a growing phase. And so there's a lot of exciting pieces to that. Christopher mentioned earlier on, relationships matter to us, and we empower our people to make those relationships and to develop that return business. And it's relationships across the board, rather it's with a builder, rather it's with an interior designer, or rather it's with a vendor. We all have lots of vendors that we work with, both, you know, in the States and overseas. So that is a big piece that we really push and value as our partner relationships across the board. Career advancement and opportunity is something that we really look at. We've got, you know, I've got Daisy is one. When I started with the company, he was still running a store and a store manager. He started with us as a sales associate. I watched him grow into an assistant manager, store manager, market manager. He was a regional manager, and we just created a position, and he's now the senior senior director of retail. And so there is so many stories that I could share about the ability to grow with the company. And we really believe in promoting internal growth, and we work really hard. I actually just got off a project where we streamlined all of our distribution centers so that every position has a pathway, and we made them, you know, we're making handouts so that everyone can see how to get promoted in different avenues that they can have. And that really helps retention. And we do have a ton of tenure, which I think is great. Hybrid is a new thing since COVID. And I feel like it's been a great push for us, and maybe was our silver lining in COVID, because we had never really worked with hybrid models before. And so right now, our corporate office, we have been all home for the last year and a half, and we learned that we're actually pretty productive and we do well, thanks to Christopher's team installing the things that we need to actually get there. We couldn't have done it before without him. But so going forward, after proving that it works, our CEO has kind of granted our corporate office to actually work with hybrid positions, and we've offered it to all departments as long as we're able to make it work and the work is getting done. We're really changing how we put our days together. We've learned that we have to be flexible. We have, COVID has thrown a lot of curveballs at us, and you have to work with kids' schedules. And in doing that, I think what we're realizing is, instead of worrying about is the work getting done, I think a lot of us are going, you need to not be logging in at 8 o'clock at night. It's very easy just to keep working. And so there's measures there, but I'm really excited that we have that to offer. We have since started virtual positions. I know right now I just developed 2 virtual customer service positions that we've never done before, and it's working. And so I'm really excited about that. And I know Christopher's looking at some virtual positions on his team as well. Benefits and pay, we continue to excel. On a retail point in the field, we have great benefits that are very, very competitive, and we continue to build different pieces of our, whether it's long-term incentive plans or bonus packages. We continue to build as a group to make sure that we're at market level and excelling over market level, so that we can continue to be competitive there. And then my biggest piece that I share with people is that you have a voice, and I truly mean that. And I know that I've been with a company, like I said, from 2015, and I can't tell you how many times I've stood up and said, how about this or how about that? And it's always taken into consideration. We have a very open leadership team. We take a lot of, I know our training, we did a training in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, and one of the store managers brought an inventory idea up in the training, and they went back and implemented it. And so we really push that you have a voice, and we want to hear from you, because they're in their seats every day and they push up a lot of great ideas to us. So that's kind of what we are. Now when we're looking for what we need, this is the tricky piece, because we all need people, right? But you have to have the right person in the right seat. My first mistake I made when I started recruiting for the tile shop was not explaining what I meant by fast pace. And by saying that, I brought in a CAD drafter, and I was super excited because I pulled him out of Best Buy, and we were looking to open stores. We were opening 10, 15 stores just in that year, and it was crazy. And my person that I brought in left after about 2 months, and she was the first to really teach me what fast pace meant. And I am kind of a high wired person, so it excited me. But what I learned really fast is it doesn't excite everybody. And so we have to be selective with the person, and I have to be, my team has to be open and honest. And when I asked her why she left, she said, at Best Buy, they give me one job to draw. I get one store to draw, I put it together, and I move on. She's like, you guys gave me 5 stores at one time and 3 remodels. And she's like, I can't think straight. And you either love it or you hate it. And so now when we talk about fast-paced environment, we really focus on making sure that people know what we mean by that, because it's important. Someone that excels in a build and develop workplace. We are growing, and I think Christopher can attest to this. I mean, he just did a total rebuild of our IT department. That is super, super, super exciting, but it's not for everybody. And when you do a rebuild, we need to make sure that we have people that come in that enjoy the build piece. They enjoy being part of growth. They enjoy putting these processes and policies together, because we're growing and things are changing, and we're the world is a crazy place right now, and we are that company that can turn fast. And that's what I'm most proud of about us is we do, okay, this isn't working, let's try this. But not everybody is built to be able to do that. And so we really spend a lot of time on build. You're going to have to come in, and there's probably things in your department that that are policies that aren't quite there yet, or that are going to need improvement. And you got to be excited and want to do that piece. And so that's a big thing that we screen for. Self-starter, we're not a micromanaged company whatsoever. We empower our people. That gets really pushed down from our CEO, that he doesn't micromanage us, and so we try to kind of bring that same thing to our teams. And so the self-starter becomes super important to make sure that we're bringing in people that enjoy that environment. Out of the box thinkers. I think one of the things that the company is, that I get excited about with the company is that we're not afraid to try something new. We're not afraid to, okay, everyone's running this way, I think we might go this way. And I'm proud of that. And it's gotten us many, many, many great things. And we need those ideas and we need them to keep flowing. And so we really talk to people about, we want your ideas and we need out of the box thinking, because that's what's going to evolve us and keep us in front of our competition. Christopher mentioned passion. Passion is a big thing. I'm a pretty passionate person, if you didn't notice. But the passion piece is, it's funny when we interview people, I tell people that on the phone, and when they come into the office, my favorite thing is when they leave, they say, Jamie, I felt it. And that's what's cool, is our people are passionate about the people around them, but they're passionate about what we're doing, and they're passionate about the product and the tile, and they believe in the company. And that's an important thing. And to me, I've been, especially consulting, I've been in so many companies where people are just there, they're going to work every day. Our people are there because they want to be. And I need to make sure that when we're staffing, we're bringing on the people that want to be there, that are passionate, that want to grow. And there is a difference. And that is probably something that, and I can't build that. That's a skill that's in you. And so that's one that we really look for is the passionate piece, because that's what's going to push us to the next level. And then the roll up your sleeves mentality seems simple, but it's really not. All levels. Our CEO shovels every single morning in the winter. That's just his thing. If he doesn't, we don't have all these different areas where everybody's kind of, I'm over here, so I don't do that. It's a roll up your sleeves mentality. And when we have something go wrong, we jump in together. And it's important that I say that to people when I'm bringing them in, because as our CFO, you might have to work accounts payable to figure out what's wrong. And as in all these departments, we kind of run dual roles. And when we're bringing people in, we're workers as well as leaders. And that's important to kind of point out. And we need mentalities that want to be the worker bee as well as a leader. And it is a different skill set and personality. And so that's a big one that I look for. What are you doing to maintain corporate culture when employees are remote? That's a really great question. And that's hard. What we've tried to have all of our teams do is to have, if not daily, group huddles or meetings. For me personally, I have meetings with my team every morning and every night. And that's what I would do in the office. Is we would have, our world changes so fast. We may have, think we're all caught up on 3 jobs, and by the end of the day, we have 5 jobs and 2 of them needed to be filled yesterday. And so we have daily meetings. We've put a lot of things in video. Our CEO puts out messaging constantly. I think there's a message that goes out monthly with, if not more than that, but with just, he talks to everybody. He tells us where we're at. We started a lot of programs, like our anniversary program. We started a newsletter that we kind of brought back from the dead. We had it a long time ago, and we brought that back to kind of get people talking. We started a shout out. We were asking people to send us names of people they wanted to recognize. So I think communication has had to change. Christopher has changed our world when he put in Office 365 and Teams, because now we have instant messaging and a lot of things that make us feel like we're actually right beside the person. And so I think it was just changing how we are doing things is a big piece. I know some of our teams actually, and I know HR does this a lot, they have all their screens turned on and they're all on Zoom together, but they're working together. And then you kind of get that feeling. And I know I've done that with my team too. Any other questions before I move on to my last slide? Oh, all right. So that's kind of what we look for. Now I wanted to just run through our current jobs that we're looking for. And I mostly focus more on kind of our corporate office, but I'll kind of run you through what we're looking for in this group. And please, if you know of anybody, by all means, message Christopher and I would love to talk to them. Accounts payable, anybody in the accounting arena knows that that's That's the heart of your accounting. And that's a really hard one. It's a tough market right now. So accounts payable, we're just looking for, I hire sometimes college grads into that role, and sometimes we find great AP clerks that just enjoy doing that. And it's a harder one to find. We would love to ask for SAP experience, but right now we're also in a will train mode based on the population of applicants that we're getting right now. We are growing fast in our supply chain area. So our demand planners are, kind of really have their hands in the buying and the inventory. And so those are new positions that we just are creating and pushing out. So those are in our procurement department. The SAP functional leads and the SAP development leads, those are in Christopher's IT department. And those are very specific roles that we're looking for. Christopher, did you want to touch base on those real quick?
Sure. With SAP warehouse management, people know if they do that job because they really know how distribution works and how to set up SAP and configure SAP and do process design. And the SAP development lead, we have a small team of developers, and we need someone who can play that lead position, not just be a developer, but also that working leader that is also programming themselves, designing solutions themselves, can help architect what the functional leads are designing, and making sure that the work gets done. Both of those are critical roles for my team, and we're looking for people with depth of experience, in the 15+ year type of experience levels.
Good. And in our demand planners, we're really, we will look at any background that has worked in any kind of buying position before. Those are areas where we have people in place that can easily train and mentor. I would even entertain in one of our positions a college grad that's coming out that has, some sort of experience through their degree, or just somebody that has 1 or 2 years experience in supply chain. Our CAD technician, this one is one that's killing me right now, because CAD is just, everybody's moving over to Rivet, and it's just a hard one to pull into. But that one's just basically doing the drawings of our stores and our remodels, working with our architects. Our regional field trainers is in our training department. Those are mobile positions. So those are positions that I can place in anywhere. And so mostly looking for Detroit, Chicago. I just filled New Jersey, and basically we're looking for somebody that has leadership training and sales training, and that likes to travel, because the majority of that job is going to be traveling. Graphic design in our marketing department, we look for most of these positions. We like to bring somebody in that just has a couple years experience. I just piloted our first internship with the marketing team, and we had 2 interns that were fantastic. I hope they come back and see us next year and look at full-time positions. But we gave them the project of actually rebranding our recruiting department, and they have done an amazing job. So we definitely love that college grad area for that position. And then our customer store supports and operations, that's just that, it's customer service. And since COVID, since going hybrid, we've learned that customer service can be anywhere. So we've opened those roles up to be virtual. And it's really given us a much bigger pool to choose from. Pro market is just that, it's our outside sales, really working with our stores, pushing that outside, getting with builders, working within the builders associations, working with architects, and store managers. I can put a store manager anywhere. So anybody you run into that has retail experience, we're constantly looking for leadership. We're positioning ourselves to get back in a big growth mode. And so bringing in the right talent and building out my talent bench, especially in the store field, is a huge priority for me right now.
I have just a general question.
Yeah.
If you looked at the number of people that you're going to hire, let's say in the next 12 months,
Yep.
what percent of those would be experienced hires? That is, they already have a job and they're looking to make a change versus new college hires?
I would say, I mean, today, I would say probably 90%, well, probably 80%, because we hire a lot of college grads in our stores. I would say probably 80% of them are going to be experienced. However, on the store side, that is a focus for 2022, is to really start targeting, I'm building my team out to really start targeting design schools and really going after more of the college grad. Or what works really nicely for us is getting college interns that use our program for an intern, and then they end up staying. And so we've had great success on the East Coast with that, with some of our colleges out there. And so that's an area we'd like to see pick up a little bit more. But right now it's more toward, and I think that's the nature of the positions we've been bringing in too.
So in the stores, it's more college hires, and at the corporate level, it's more experienced.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So Jamie, thank you for kind of walking through that. Kind of as, if you will, as we wrap up, I wanted to leave with a couple of things and then ask if there are questions. You know, as an organization, we laid out our key strategies for 2021, and really it's people development. It's making sure that we get the right people in the right seats and growing the people that we have. It's also focused on retail execution, our online experience. We're continuing to grow our web experience and capabilities, and our supply chain and assortment management. Those are the strategies and focus, and you'll see that in some of the hiring that we're doing. You know, the other thing that I wanted to call out is we've faced a number of business challenges, everything from tariffs across the world to an ERP implementation that really caused challenges in the organization. Now that's smoothed over, and we just completed an upgrade that was almost transparent to the organization, but we faced some challenges there, and then obviously COVID. But despite all of those challenges, the Tile Shop is a great company to work for. We have no debt, we have a strong cash position, and we're ready to start growing again in 2022 with store additions. All of this really sets us up, and Jamie's reiterated a number of times that concept of growth, and growth is really where the Tile Shop is at. What's driving that? We believe it's people. Our growth is in people, and we believe that the marketplace is acknowledging the customer service, the customer experience that they get in our stores. We believe that we are in the right industry. You know, the industry is certainly growing with home improvement, and we don't think that's going to stop. And so really, from my perspective, the Tile Shop is a great place to be because it's exciting. You make an impact. That's what I tell all of the candidates and my team, is you have an opportunity to make an impact with this organization. I've never been in an organization where I've rebuilt an entire IT department in a matter of 9 months. It's been a whirlwind, and I tell my team, you know, we're running a marathon, but we're running at 100-meter dash speed, and that's real. When I tell other people, my vendors and partners, what we're working on, they're in awe and can't believe what we're working on all at once. That's the kind of speed that we're working at, but it's really exciting. And so that's what I wanted to really leave with you, is the Tile Shop is an exciting place to be, and it's a great place to work. And I invite you to consider it. And if you know of someone who is interested or looking for employment, please feel free to introduce them or point them to our website. And we have lots of opportunity, and hopefully they'll be good fit and good timing. So with that, questions, that's really where we wanted to land. Is we have had a few questions, but are there other questions or questions on the material and how we're thinking about things and why we're growing and the process to maybe get involved?
So, Christopher, I noticed Miguel Pomar just joined us.
Oh, great.
Could we just take a couple of minutes? Miguel, I told them a little bit about you before.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be recommending that this next week that you and I and Cheryl, the chapter president, and Christopher and Jamie, the two people from the tile shop, get on a Zoom call, because it sounds like they're at a point where there could be a lot of synergy that
Absolutely.
develops out of this. So Miguel, could you introduce yourself and what your role is at BYU?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chet. I appreciate it. So everyone, nice to meet you all. I apologize that I'm a little bit late. We have staff meeting right as this was going on. I'm like, oh, because I really wanted to be on here, and that's okay. Thankfully, Chet's a good man and records things. And so he will send me those recordings so I can visit up. But certainly to give you a little bit of a perspective, I've been with BYU for 3 years. My role is the Director of Employer Engagement. I do here at the Marriott School of Business. And so as I was looking at the postings that Jamie was talking about, I'm looking at supply chain, I'm looking at accounting, I'm looking at a lot of different roles there that our students and even alumni could fill spaces for you all. And certainly from my perspective, although I predominantly work with undergrads and the MBA or master level students, I still have access, of course, to all of our alumni and work through some of those channels to make sure that we can make some connections. So I would very, very much love to learn more about the tile shop. I'm going to go do my own little research, because that's typically what I do anyway. Hopefully see the recording so I can see all of what was shared, and then certainly prepare for a great meeting with you all. So
Thank you.
Fantastic.
So,
my wife, I think my wife must know Cheryl then. Is that right, Chet?
could be,
I don't know
yes,
if you know Gina Pomar yet. So she's
Yeah.
over in the alumni side and works with the management side. So
Yeah.
awesome.
that's right. So in a company, I would say he's the key guy to know, because I've heard people say, I could go out to BYU or I could try to set up a virtual visit, but who do I set it up with and how do I get students to listen? And that's where Miguel comes in. He can make it happen. He also has connections throughout the university in other career centers, whether it's STEM related or others.
Yep.
That if you say, these are the kinds of people I want, then he can talk to the career guidance counselors that know those people and kind of get the connection.
Yeah, and we're happy to do that. So although we play very nicely at BYU with each other, because at the end of the day, it's about students, it's not about us. And so I've built a really strong rapport and relationship with all of my colleagues across campus. So when it comes to opportunities outside of the business school, I look specifically along with my student team to find where can we extrapolate some additional opportunity for our other colleagues, because we all just share amongst each other.
So Cheryl, I think the ball is in your court to get this recording ready that you can send it out to Miguel.
Yes, I will do that this afternoon. Once it is uploaded to the cloud, it just takes a little while for it to process, and I will get that out to everybody today.
Yeah.
Right. So before we wrap up, I'd love to see if Tamara or Joseph have any questions or even any suggestions on information that maybe we didn't cover or things that you would like to know.
I have one question while their minds are thinking. I'm a person that can look at something in a home and say, oh, I'd like to have something like that in my home, but I'm not the one that knows how to do it. So do you have relationships with workers that actually install the tile and do that type of work? So if I walked into one of their shops and said, I like this, this, and this, and you say, well, you have to put it together, and my wife would say, well, fat chance on that. That's not going to happen. So do you have relationships with local people that actually install the tile that you sell?
Yeah, so store managers typically will have for their particular area contacts and references that they can provide to you. And they might have a few favorites, but we typically will make sure that we can put you in contact with a few different people, especially in today's market. There's a high demand for home improvement. And so you might have to call a few different people or wait a little while.
Sure.
But nonetheless, we can definitely do that. I appreciate the challenge with it. And in fact, I'm going through that as we speak. I have about 4 projects. I just bought a new home and I'm working through trying to find people to do all that work. So I definitely empathize.
So there may be some people that have those skills that are on our mailing list, and they could say, oh, I'm going to contact the tile shop, and I could do work for their customers,
They're all of our store managers. We keep a preferred vendor list. And so, and most of the time, the preferred vendor list is pretty sacred. So they're usually giving out, builders they've worked with for a long time, so that we're very selective with the names that we're giving out. But if those are all booked, they might also give you a list of, we haven't quite had the relationship too long with this one, but here is another one. But yeah, I send them names all the time too.
So I think what Chet's question is, how does somebody get on the preferred vendor list?
Just contact the store in your area.
In your area.
Yep, in your area. Yep. There's also, and I won't go deep into it, but we also have programs in place that for our pros, where if they refer business to us, they actually get kickbacks too. And so there's financial benefit to partnering with us as well. And a lot of those partnerships, we share kind of customers back and forth. And we also have, some of them even have little binders of the work that the builders have done. So they build some really great relationships.
Yeah, so we have a loyalty program that gives you those referral bonuses. Any other questions?
So I noticed on your map, you obviously started in the Midwest and kind of moved east. Do you have plans to move west? And do you have competition that way? Is that why you moved east?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can share some of it. We certainly started in the Midwest because we started here in the Twin Cities and built that out. And then we moved east. What we find is there is extreme competition in the South and the West, not in the West as much as the Southwest. And we've just dipped our toe into Texas over the last few years, and we're learning a lot from Texas. I would say that we will eventually move into these other states. We're actually doing a real estate analysis as we speak, which I'm involved in, looking at all of the data, seeing who our customer is, both from a demographic, psychographic, and quite candidly, just from a profile perspective in general, and figuring out where we need to put our stores next. I would say that we will move west, but as the beginning of my presentation showed, we believe there's about a 400 store market for us, and we're at 150.
Well, I'd say, Christopher, that Utah would be a great space because it is building like
I know.
crazy here. It is just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I look around me. We just finished building our home with my wife, and it's like, I don't know where we're going to put all these people in the state, quite honestly. It has to just keep going up.
Yeah.
Our founder is passionate about California, and so that was
That's what I was wondering about.
When I started, that's always been our target, is eventually we'll get to California, and then it opens up so much more from a port standpoint too.
Yeah, and that's where I was wondering was California, because having come from that area, there's a lot of tile possibilities.
Yeah.
And they really love that type of architecture. And then I was wondering about the Seattle area too, because
Oh, absolutely.
my sister lives up here and I've shopped with her for tile. So
Yeah.
that's my one experience shopping for tile was with her. And she loves doing her area, you know, her home. And they
Yeah.
just moved into a new one. So that's why I was curious about that.
No, there's lots of opportunity. The question is really prioritization. And we've learned, in fact, it's one of my mantras. Our CEO has picked up that mantra because there's more demand than supply. And we have to deal with that from everything from people to capacity to product. We actually are even struggling because of the supply chain situation to get product. We're just finally seeing that product situation ease a little bit in most of Europe, and now Asia has started to rear its head again, and we're struggling with Asia. So it's an ongoing battle, but we definitely believe there's opportunity, and it's just a matter of when, not if. Anything else before we wrap up here? I really appreciate everybody joining today. It's been fun to get to know you. And please reach out to me and Jamie via LinkedIn. We're happy to connect. And we're happy to help you or others that you know that are interested in the tile shop going forward.
Absolutely. It was wonderful to meet you all.
Well,
So
we were happy
Cheryl,
to have you.
Thank you.
So
go ahead,
I'm
Cheryl.
going to go ahead and stop the recording now. And